Hello, it's Tom Donald from the London Contemporary School of Piano. Today I'm going to show you how to make beautiful music out of random chords. And if you're a fan of our work at the London Contemporary School of Piano, head on over to our website, contemporaryschoolofpiano.com, to find out more about what we do and also to get your free resources kit, which covers these videos, including this one. Though I don't know where this one's going to go because I am literally going to use random chords. And I'm using random chords today to demonstrate a point. It's a bit of a paradox because in music there actually is no such thing as random. And I see a lot of people getting tripped up in their theory, a lot of people who might be interested in arranging and composing, also people just interested in theory in general. They think that composers work to a whole bunch of very rigid rules and then they get confused like, oh, this piece is in C major. Why is there an E flat major chord? That's not allowed. Well, how does that work? And the reality is that music doesn't actually work like that. The piano and the tuning system has already taken care of so many of those things for us, so we can create random chords and it will sound musically coherent. So I'm going to prove this to you today because I have a cup here on the piano. By the way, don't do this at home. Never put a cup on the piano. This is not a drink stand. However, I'm making an exception because there's no alcohol in this and there's no water in this, no fluid, no liquid. There's just pieces of paper, which my 6-year-old daughter cut out for me this morning. And I have put on these little random bits of paper, random chords, to prove there's no such thing as random. So when I come up with these chord progressions, there is no cognitive bias. These are just random chords that I placed in this cup. They're major chords. I've got major chords in this cup. What's in this recipe? Major chords, minor chords, major 7, minor 7, dominant 7s. I threw in a few diminished chords. I threw in a couple of half diminished chords just for a bit of fun and some random slash chords and that's all that could really fit in this cup. I could have gone crazy. I sort of did. So I'm going to just choose 4 random chords. You can do this at home. We're going to create some beautiful composing together. My first chord here is a D flat major. I'm going to prove there's no such thing as random with these random chords. D flat major. Oh, we have an E flat major / G. Ooh, then we have a G major chord. Wasn't expecting that. And then we have an E flat major 7. Okay, let me put them in a place where I can see them clearly so I don't forget them. So here's our chord progression. D flat major. I'll just very carefully put this back here. D flat major, E flat over G, G major, E flat major 7. Let's play it. Do it again. Now, when I put those 4 chords together, something is going to happen. The music will somewhat collapse into a key center, even though it might not appear at first to have a key center. I'm going to say that it feels like it's very much in D flat major still, but with a whole bunch of decoration in it. I start on that D flat major chord, then I go to an E flat major chord, which is like, it's a little bit like a secondary dominant chord here, replacing an E flat minor. We could have the E flat minor, but the E flat over the G gives it that brightness of the major. Now we get a big divergence with this G major. We divert to something quite different outside the key of D flat major, but it worked quite well actually because you've still got the G in the bass from the E flat, so that was a happy accident. Then we had the E flat major 7, which just major 7 chords, they sort of glue everything together. Doesn't really good to have any major 7 chord. And it would just glue the whole thing together. So it works really well. I could even make up a melody out of this. Does that sound random? Hardly. And then I was doing things like in the melody, I was hinting the G that's upcoming in the bass note of the next chord. So it is in D flat major to my ears, but that G gives it a slight Lydian mode feel to it because the next three chords after the D flat major all possessed a G in it. So I could improvise on that with the D flat Lydian mode. And that D flat Lydian mode perfectly fit those four apparently random chords like a glove. You see the music collapsed into a structure. You can't avoid it. The structure is everywhere in music. Okay, that was our first one. Let's do some more. So we just randomly came across a D flat Lydian mode there. And I'm just reacting to this as I go. I'm reacting to the theory as I go. So I might not get the theory perfect. I'm just reacting because I don't even know what it is I'm going to play. Now, and this one's an interesting one. We're going to have a D major over an F sharp. So I've just dropped a chord on the floor. Well, we won't be using that one then. D flat over an F sharp to a D flat major 7 to an A flat 7 to an F over a G. Okay, what does that mean? Let's hear these four chords. D flat over F sharp. D flat major 7. A flat major. F over a G. Trying to figure out what key this one's in. And the thing is, it's not that I necessarily have to decide that or know it, but I can be rest assured that chords have such an internal structure to them, even when they're randomly pitted against each other, that they still make musical sense. It collapses into a musical sense to it. And doesn't that just transform the way we think about music? Totally, doesn't it? And how we arrange music, or maybe how we compose music. We still want to compose with certain emotions in mind, but we don't have to be so rigid in the way we think about music. To me, this feels like... trying to figure out what it feels like. I'd say it feels like it's in A flat major or D flat major still. But we start with that passing chord of the D over the F sharp. Then the D flat major 7. It settles on the A flat major. Then the F over the G just relaxes all of that dissonance afterwards. What's quite nice about the F over the G is it leads to the F sharp when we repeat the cycle. Maybe it's in C major and we just didn't play the C. I mean, it depends what could happen for the rest of the composition. So just arpeggiate these chords. Sounds like something that would be quite nice in a film, this one. You just arpeggiate those chords. It's got a nice ambiguity about it, that progression. So that was a cool progression. All right, next random one. We're just going to keep hitting the randoms. What do we got here? Oh, we have an F sharp diminished 7. This one's going to be intense. Oh, all the diminished 7s are showing up. E flat diminished 7. I promise you I shuffled the cards. Shuffled them very thoroughly. We have a D flat over an E flat. We're getting loads of D flats. And then D flat 7. But I do promise you I shuffled the cards. Lots of D flats here, but this is going to be interesting. F sharp diminished 7, E flat diminished 7. They're an inversion of each other, those two chords. D flat over an E flat, D flat 7. Sort of gave that one a bluesy feel with those diminished chords and then ending on the D flat 7. I thought, well, let's feel bluesy, gospel-y with it. That was the style it pulled me towards. Let's do some more. I'm just going to pull out any 4 again. Just want to see all the combinations we can get today. Okay, so we've now got a G diminished 7 to a D minor 7 with a flattened 5. Okay, so we are getting quite dramatic now. E7, G over an A. G diminished 7. The dreaminess of the D minor 7 with the flattened 5. That's the half diminished. E7. With the G over an A. I think of composers like Kurt Weill with this one. It's slightly theatrical and slightly quirky. I'm going to say this one's in A minor, because that G over an A is almost leading us to the A minor. We're just not stating it. The E7 is functioning like the chord 5 for the A minor, and then that's consistent with using the half diminished, which adds just lots of colour, and the G diminished. And those two diminished chords are just slightly making it quite mysterious. But the resolution is in those last two chords. Which sort of leaves it up in the air. Yeah, it had a sort of quirky cocktail feel to it, that one, didn't it? C minor 7. Ooh, okay. E minor 7 with a flattened 5, so that's going to be another half diminished chord. All the diminished chords are coming out. A flat diminished 7. I feel like I put too many diminished chords in the hat. But then, we're being random, aren't we? So there's no cognitive bias. And that's actually what composing is, in a way. Composing is cognitive bias, because you're choosing the chords that you like the most in combination. There's something to think about. C minor 7. E minor 7 with the flattened 5th. A flat diminished 7. This one's definitely in the key of C minor. Or maybe it's in the key of G minor. It could swing both ways. I'm doing lots of chromatic improvisation over those chords. And let's finish with one more. And the difficult thing about this exercise for me is I want to finish it in a certain mood, in a certain feeling, because it's the end of a video and I want to say, oh, haven't we had fun today? But I could get something really depressing that isn't so fun. I could get something that's really got loads of tension in it. I could get something that's just too cheesy for my liking. That's the great thing about these random exercises, is it clarifies our own musical preferences a little bit. B major. That's a nice chord. Quite happy with that one. What have we got here? A major 7. Well, we're starting really happy, but it could go anywhere. Oh, another one's fallen on the floor. Oh, then we've got C7 and B flat minor. That's a funny progression. Let's try it. Reminds me a bit of Pink Floyd, Great Gig in the Sky, those last 2 chords there, but not the beginning. The beginning's really sunny. Feels very much in the key of B major, but then the C7 and the B flat minor gives it a bit of a shift. So it's sort of moving between 2 keys, B major and B flat minor, maybe. Let's try and put a melody on it. Now, if you enjoy our work at the London Contemporary School of Piano, head on over to our website to learn more about what we do, how we do it, why we do it, and to get your free resources kit that accompanies these videos. I'll turn today's video into a crib sheet for you if you want to practice these so-called random progressions. I hope you've had fun playing random chords with me today. Now have some fun experimenting on chords today.